Welcome all to another LLM Instance Gateway meeting. Just a reminder, this is being uploaded to YouTube, so act accordingly. And we are following the CNCF guidelines. So again, please be respectful of everyone, and let's go ahead and get started. I will share my screen. Just a note, we have our agenda is a little bit shorter today, which I don't think is a huge deal. We can leave time for questions if anyone has any kind of as far as the progress. But to follow up from last week, we were talking about the gateway integrations. I had a PR open and an issue. I linked those again. But we reached out to the Envoy Gateway folks. They opened up an issue on their end and got some discussion. And we were able to get some agreement that they're totally willing to support this custom API. This would not be exclusive to Envoy Gateway. This is simply meant to be referential. We just wanted to pick one. Totally open to have contributors do this if someone is interested. I can totally do it. It just might be a little bit. I'm going to focus a little bit more on our instance gateway to get the LLM service CRD working. And then I'll switch over and implement that. But again, open if anyone is interested. The top thread, this is the Envoy Gateway issue. And then this is the Instance Gateway issue. Just I'll label this clearly. And then moving right along, we have our CRD PR open.
I have one question about the first item.
Yeah.
So you're saying that Envoy community are open to change, make changes to the Envoy gateway controller to support the APIs in alpha state?
To receiving it, yes, absolutely. I don't know if they have any personnel or anything assigned to it, so it would likely be an effort from Instance Gateway, but they're open to receiving the code for sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
that was different from what I understood initially, because I thought that they were a little bit concerned about an application specific APIs being support upstream. So that changed.
And that thread has the conversation and the why. So
all right, thanks.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Sorry, I should have paused. Any other questions there? Sweet. Yeah, so the CRD, the PR, if you end up reviewing it, it's huge, but a lot of it is just generated code. I used a kube builder and the code generator. I got those wired up together, so when you just run the make command, if you ever end up contributing or have a fork that you want to play with, just run make from the root of the repo, and it'll generate everything you need.
Yeah. Do we have CI set up for this or not yet?
I haven't set up a GitHub action yet. I figured the make was easy enough, but I can set up like a post commit hook GitHub action to just run the make and do the generate on your behalf if we want.
T24.
That's fine.
Please keep in mind that this meeting will be recorded and
Jeff, you might have a leaky mic. I'm gonna throw mute on you. Cool. Sorry, Jeff.
I thought we can use Kubernetes, support here. Like they do have that. Like we can set up CI using Kubernetes. Kubernetes.
I saw some repos that have some GitHub actions set up, but
just because we're gonna need that to run integration, unit tests, as well as on submit, as we have the xproc implementation.
Right. Agreed. No, I agree. CI is definitely an important step.
Okay, I'll create an issue and then.
Yeah, I was gonna say I kind of think it's out of scope of this PR, but that sounds great.
Yeah, it's a follow-up, direct follow-up. So that if you want to make any change, we want to make sure that we're not breaking it.
Yeah, that's cool. And yeah, we do need to set up, and this is a task I have on my list to do, is set up a repo for our images, a Kubernetes one, because we do have this xproc image that we'll need to support. So anyways, moving right along, Abdullah, I think this third point is yours, kind of talking about LoRa adapter orchestration.
Yeah, just like a quick thought here. I was discussing with Chong as well and Kunjan. We are, just because like we're making some progress on the xproc, and so we want people to use it, but then it would be really not too convenient to get people like to try it out, but there's no like or little support for LoRa orchestration like for rollouts. And so we're thinking about like an initial approach where basically you have a sidecar that can read from a config map if you want to basically load a new adapter or remove an adapter. This is the simplest approach. It's not like bulletproof. Of course, it's not going to support like proper rolling updates of adapters, but at least it's a mechanism, um, you know, to add new adapter to all model servers instead of like calling them one by one. I don't know, Yashin, if you have any thoughts here. I know that you're planning to share a document related to LoRa adapter orchestration. But I'm not sure if you are planning also to share some code, or it's just a document, or just a proposal.
Yeah, the plan on our side is to share the doc by next week, and some code probably end of October. Yeah, so that's the plan, and yeah, I think the implementation is a little bit different. We use a separate like CRDs, and
Right.
yeah, like the config map is more lightweight, as I think.
Yeah. I mean, I do expect that we will need a CRD if we were to have like a proper solution with support for rollbacks and gradual rollouts and rollbacks. This one is just like a simple, convenient. I'm thinking about it like a sidecar. That's cool because it's low overhead. Like basically, it's a single Python script. It's not complicated to do. So it's basically like a 1 or 2 day worth of work.
Cool. Yeah, definitely look forward to hearing from Joshin about this next week. And thank you so much. I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but thank you for contributing that to VLLM, the API extension. That's awesome. Yeah, any open questions from anyone here? This was kind of our agenda. But yeah, would love to hear from anyone if they have any questions, how they want to get involved, where, concerns with where we're headed, things like that.
Yes, I do. Actually, yeah. This is my very first time here. Nice to meet you all. I'm Mattia. I'm one of the Gateway API maintainers, and I was just interested in this project, so I just passed by to understand what you folks are doing. In the first item of the agenda, you mentioned the fact that you created an issue in the Envoy Gateway repository to basically ask them, or maybe, open a discussion to implement the CRD itself, right? I guess that this is a starting point, so I think that you may want that eventually to have multiple implementations of such an API, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. I'm saying that because I'm from Kong, we have our Gateway API implementation. So, this can be just a first contact point for this kind of discussion if it goes if it gets somewhere. But yeah, I just wanted to understand if there is the will to have as many implementations on board as possible.
Yes, the answer is absolutely. Envoy was just picked because that's what we've been using. And it's very similar to our model server integration strategy. We picked VLLM just because it was a popular one, but both model server and gateways, we want to support as many as possible. The Envoy gateway implementation is meant to be referential. It's like, this is how we did it in Envoy. If you support xproc, please support this. This is how we did it. And whatever is best practice in your gateway, go for it. I think that sounds awesome. I would love that.
Yeah, great.
Mattia,
Yeah,
did you get a chance to look at the API? Provide any even though the API PR has been merged, but feel free to comment on the merged PR, and we can amend it if there are things that we need to change.
Yeah, for sure. Honestly, I haven't taken a look at the PR yet or the issues. I mean, as I said, this is my very first interaction with you folks, but yeah, I definitely do that, and yeah, I'll let you know. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Yeah. Speaking of model servers, we discussed about so I'm about to share a doc. I'm still apologies on my end. I'm still trying to clean up the doc on the metrics or whatever protocol the model servers need to work with the gateway. But in the meanwhile, I think we started adding some metrics, especially around LoRa's. The Quinjin is here. I think Quinjin is planning adding some metrics on what the LoRa adapter is pending or active in the batch, and hopefully we'll get a PR out by the end of this week. Anything to add here, Quinjin?
We are adding the max LoRa adapters that are pending and that are active. The idea is to keep the GPU saturated with LoRa adapters at all times. Justin, are you guys planning on adding any further APIs for LoRa? Modifying the max LoRa dynamically or some parts of LoRa config dynamically?
Yeah, the rank ID part, that's part of the configuration. Yeah, we have a constant LoRa scheduler to do the the placement part, right? Yeah. So that's part of the core API. There's only one API. Yeah.
But can that be dynamically updated?
You mean the maximum the slot, the or something else?
Max LoRa, the max LoRa and the max LoRa rank.
That's not that cannot be dynamic updated because that has to be passed into the engine. So that's something I think requires restart.
Yeah. But I was wondering if you are considering adding that.
Based on my experiences, I think we don't see strong needs on that part because most of the users, they do profiling and they understand how many LoRa's, how many ranks, if we use the terms how many ranks it can take. I don't think there's too many cases want to update it dynamically, but just feel free to let me know if you know some of the cases. Right now, I think there's no strong need, but it's probably an open question, I think. Yeah.
Cool. That makes sense.
So you are not assuming that all the model servers on the same pool load the same, all the a specific set of adapters, and then let, for example, the gateway to schedule requests on them. It's in addition to that, you're basically also selecting which exact model servers will load which adapters, right?
Right. Yeah, because it's kind of heterogeneous. If we have M pods, only N pods of M will have the LoRa schedule. I mean, for that's the LoRa schedule based on the replicas. And yeah, the gateway need to be aware of the placement.
And so you profile each like set of hardware accelerator with the number of ranks you expect it to be able to take based on the base model. Like H100 would be different than A100, just due to the GPU memory. Is that right?
Yeah.
So it can handle. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Different hardware.
that makes sense.
Yeah, affect the total range that it can accept.
Right. That's cool to think about it. In terms of rank. That makes sense. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I have a follow up on the rank, and so rank basically decides the size of the adapter.
Right.
I'm curious to know, will I choose this rank and also the max LoRa? Max LoRa is just a number of LoRa's, right? But their ranks or size can differ. So, which will result. So if all your adapters are kind of on the maximum of the rank, you get a large, footprint of, memory for the adapters. I wonder why that was, like, those two parameters were chosen to configure this. The other choice could be just pick the maximum memory for all your LoRa adapters, see 20 gigs. I wonder if anyone has any insights, or in practice, how do you balance that?
Yeah, technically, I think from engine's perspective, I mean, or from user's perspective, you don't like to control the physical like HBM like size, right? It's hard to say, okay, I want the LoRa use up to like 1 gigabytes or like 2 gigabytes, because like in VLM, everything is I think the memory is managed through the block manager, which means all the memory has been built into the blocks, which takes 16 like tokens KV cache. So in that case, the protocol is a little bit different. It's hard to know, okay, how many. It has to use the block size to indicate like how much resource no matter KV or LoRa can assume. So the language will be like LoRa specific, either the count or the total ranks, because once the rank is finalized, then the overall GPU memory can be calculated. Yeah, so I think that's more like a logical like a language we can interact with the engine rather than using the HBM memory size. Yeah.
So just because like we're currently like we have an initial implementation of the XProg, and one of the things that it does is tries to do like LoRa affinity to make sure that basically like specific set of servers are running specific LoRa adapter. I'm just trying to think like how would an approach where you're actively trying to select which adapters are loaded to which model server is actually useful, because are you thinking that we don't have enough host memory to basically have the adapters that are not active on that specific server? Because the inference gateway can, like with its traffic routing, can force which basically set of servers are loading which, like, models, which adapters, I mean. I'm just trying to think, why would one want to actively try to unload and load the adapters based on traffic? Because that's what I'm assuming like you're trying to do here, right? Like you're auto scaling a specific adapter by saying, oh, let me load it into more servers, and then if you downscale it, you're scaling it down to, like, you're removing it, unloading it from some set of model servers.
Abdullah, you mean for one LoRa, you try to like load on all the base model, all the like the replicas of the same base model, right?
Yes, assuming that, again, like the ones that are not active, they will be in the host memory, right? So they're not really impacting your GPU, because you can always limit the number of adapters you have in the accelerator, right?
Yeah, technically, yes. I think the current loading settings for like GPU memory loading only. So the swapping part, the GPU and CPU memory, like the swapping part is another story. I think there's no harm to ship the artifacts to all the models. Sorry, all the like the pods or host, right? And do the fast loading later. But that's kind of the overall system design. So model artifact locality aware scheduling. That's something I think been done in multiple places. I think that part definitely works. But I think to CPU part, I totally agree that's definitely a benefit. But the GPU part, I think is still beneficial to load in because of the memory limitation. Because some of the users, I think, from our internal users, user may not know like what's the trade-off of the rank. So sometimes they prefer larger ranks to achieve better performance, and that results in larger like LoRa. Some LoRa's can go to the GB level. In that case, I think that is something we have to take into the consideration to allocate the GPU memory. Yeah.
Okay. This is discussed in the document that you're planning to share next week, like the reason. Is that true?
Yes, but that part I think I'm not sure whether I covered it or not. But I'll share it shortly so we can have some more discussion. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, because that works for base model as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, we'll wait for the document.
Okay, guess I'm next. I have a clarification question and then a follow-up open question. So Justin, I believe the API you added on LLM that you can dynamically load and unload LoRa adapter. That's load the adapter, basically kind of register the adapter to the host memory, I believe, right? Not to the GPU. And to force
yes.
loading adapter to GPU, the request forces LLM to load that to GPU, right?
Technically, yes, that's kind of lazy. I won't say it's load to CPU. That's lazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it just makes it available. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I think if BLM, once it supports direct pull from Hugging Face, you can just let it know where it is, and it'll only pull it if it ever needs it. Yeah. So right, exactly. It's registering it. It's not actually.
But when you add a new adapter, it's not in the engine. It's only in the entry point in the in the server instance at beginning. Only when the request comes, it
Right.
the
Yes.
adapter.
That's true.
Yeah, to the engine.
So it takes some time to finish the all PRs because the interface the engine and the worker the LoRa manager, that's two separate components so we choose the lightweight way to implement it earlier to unlock the feature first. So that's the story. Yeah.
So do you also plan to have another API to load that to GPU or extend that to do that?
Right now, I think that priority is pretty low because we think the first because only the first request will be the performance will be heard. That's not a big deal, and we think that's part of the cold start. Right. So the priority is pretty low because that affects a lot of code changes. I think the overall benefits is not that large yet at this moment.
Cool. Yeah, I guess an open question. I think you mentioned about rank. If you have a heterogeneous pool of model server with different rank configurations, I think our current gateway algorithm does not take into account of that, but it could be something we can look into to more intelligent and more dynamically schedule requests, also taking into consideration of the rank of the adapter. I think that's interesting.
Yeah, technically, I think that should be something like gateway doesn't need to know, because currently rank only affects the allocation, but not the data plane traffic. So gateway, it needs to be aware of all the, I think, the LoRa's and some of the load information on that pod. So how many pod actually, how many ranks available on that pod? I think the scheduler care more about it. I think gateway should be okay. Should it doesn't need to know that information now.
Yeah, I think the schedule will automatically create based on the rank, prioritize the request.
So
I agree. I think I see Song's thought where if it's a large enough adapter that it takes significant time to load, it might be useful for the gateway to know, but I worry that we would over-index and not get it right. We're already kind of doing a lot in the gateway.
Yeah, that's my worry, that we are kind of looking into too much details on how LoRa or a specific model server handles LoRa. Yeah. That's my concern. Maybe we should look into if there's something that you can express in a more generic manner, like the cost of something.
That's why rank is a really cool metric, is because it's based off the base model's dimensions. And then you can know relative to your base model how large your LoRa adapter is while using the same metric of rank. So yeah, rank seems fine to me, but we are at time. Yeah, it sounds like we are on our end. We have a doc next week, and Yashin has a doc next week. So I think we can pick this up then, if that sounds good to everyone.
That's good.
Yeah, cool. Thank you all so much. We'll see you next week.
Thanks.